Tonight, the grieving father calling for a knife crackdown. A teenager today admitted stabbing Jermaine Cools to death. His family want tougher sentences for teenagers who carry weapons.
The sentence on teenagers is too less because killing is killing, no matter how age you are. If you're a killer, you should face the maximum for killing.
Also ahead, the wife of cyclist Mark Cavendish reveals her 3-year-old had to be hidden as burglars held a knife to her husband's throat. March misery, there could be fresh walkouts on the tube and...
Celebrations with the fan at that moment and then after the game was just special and something, you know, we'll all remember for the rest of our careers.
It was our best game ever. Stevenage FC revel at knocking a top-flight team out of the cup. Good evening. The father of a 14-year-old boy who was stabbed to death in Croydon is calling for tougher sentences for teenagers carrying knives after his son's killer pleaded guilty to murder. Jermaine Cools was walking along London Road with a relative in November 2021 when a fight broke out and he was attacked. His killer, who cannot be named because of his age, will be sentenced next month. Jermaine's dad told our reporter Antoine Allen he wants to protect people in the way his son should have been.
To tell you the truth, yeah, the pill or not pill mean nothing to us. This guy take our life, he take our son, he take our life, he take everything we had, you know. So even though he's in the court, he's laughing, you know, like there's nothing that can help us from going through what we're going through. This guy killed our son.
Julius's son, Jermaine Cools, a teenager, was murdered. Despite his killer pleading guilty today, Jermaine's parents say their pain will go on forever.
No, that's not true. No.
14-year-old Jermaine Cools was stabbed to death on London Road in Croydon in 2021. Today at the Old Bailey, a 17-year-old pleaded guilty to his murder. Julius believes sentences are not tough enough to deter young people from carrying knives.
Because killing is killing, no matter how age you are. If you're a killer, you should face the maximum for killing. So you cannot tell me because you're a teenager or you are a juvenile, go and kill somebody's son or anybody kids and telling me because of your age you're gonna get less the sentence. It doesn't work like that. You know, a killer is a killer.
Julius is a grieving father and a hero. This CCTV footage is from Mr. Cools' takeaway. It shows the father tackling a man wielding a knife after threatening a woman. An incident that happened just days before the anniversary of Jermaine's death. Last week, the Metropolitan Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, said London was safe. Julius disagrees.
It's a joke, man. It's the worst city. It cannot be a safe city. Kids walk on the street here with balaclava. They cover their face on the street like ninjas. Ninjas always in the movie. And all ninjas always have a sword, isn't it? So all them kids on the street now, they're like ninjas. So there's no change. There's never going to be no change until they make a big change. Cover your face to walk on the street.
A year on, the flowers have wilted and the candles have burnt out. But the memory of Jermaine Cools lives on in more than just this poster. Every single week down the road there's a meeting between students, youth workers and the police with one single goal. How can they make Croydon a safer place for young people? In 2022, they achieved that goal, but this year they fear potential cuts to their work. And if that happens, they believe more young people will share the fate of Jermaine. James Watkins runs one of the youth mentor programmes that in 2022 helped Croydon achieve a year without a single teenage murder victim. James, despite declining teen murders, Croydon still had the highest number of knife crime incidents in the capital. What needs to be done to change that?
We can't just start from the intervention measures. We have to start from primary school age moving forward. Personally, I feel like as a borough, we failed 2 kids in this scenario.
This year, the Jermaine Cools Foundation will open near Croydon Town Centre. Jermaine's family want to honour their son by establishing a safe place for young people. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
There could be more bad news for commuters if tube drivers vote in favour of a fresh wave of strikes in March. It's emerged today that members of the ASLEF union will be balloted later this month in an ongoing dispute over pension changes. Our political correspondent Simon Harris is at Farringdon Station for us this evening. Simon.
Duncan, when the government gave Transport for London a series of bailouts in the aftermath of the pandemic, it attached certain strings. One of them involves reforms to TfL's pension scheme. Ministers think there could be a saving of around £100 million a year. Not surprisingly, that has alarmed and angered the workforce and the unions. Last year, the RNT staged a series of strikes in protest. Now it's the turn of the drivers' union ASLEF to ballot its members with a view to calling strikes in March.
The options that the government is talking about of saving £100 million a year would mean people's retirement income being cut by up to a third. And that's utterly unfair on people who've spent their whole life working hard to deliver a public service and are now to find out that their expected retirement income will be drastically cut.
And Simon, there's also trouble ahead on the Elizabeth line.
Yes, after last week's rail strikes, commuters could be forgiven for thinking they might get a respite this week. But no, on Thursday, maintenance staff working on the Elizabeth line and signallers in the control room at Romford, they're all members of either the TWSA union or the Prospect union. They're planning to walk out. It's in a dispute over pay. They've been offered 4% this year. They want double that, a 4% increase. What it means is that the entire central section of the Elizabeth line from Paddington to Abbey Wood will come to a standstill. The first time that's happened since the line opened 8 months ago, and there will also be disruption to the other sections, to Shenfield, to Reading and to Heathrow Airport.
Simon, thank you very much. Simon Harris at Farringdon. Harrowing details have emerged from the trial of two men who are accused of a violent robbery involving a knife at the home of cyclist Mark Cavendish in Essex. His wife Peter has told a jury that she hid her 3-year-old toddler under the bedsheets so to avoid seeing her husband being attacked and having a knife held to his throat. Helen Keenan has the details.
An Olympic silver medalist and renowned Tour de France sprinter Mark Cavendish, who ended up in intensive care after this cycling crash in November 2021. But days later, on his release, he was to fall victim to injury again, this time in a vicious home burglary, described in court today as everyone's worst nightmare. His wife told the court how she saw the robbers running towards the bottom of the stairs. Getting visibly upset, she told jurors she shouted to her husband and sprinted back into their room to shield their 3-year-old child. As the thieves demanded, where are the watches? Where is the safe? Both Mark Cavendish and his wife appeared at Chelmsford Crown Court today to give evidence. She broke down in tears as she described how Mark was dragged off his feet and repeatedly punched before his attackers put a knife to his throat and said, "Do you want me to stab you up in front of your kid?" During his evidence, Mark Cavendish went into further detail of the attack, saying it wasn't like a kitchen knife, it was black with a serrated edge. It was a weapon. Prosecutors say they stole 2 Richard Mille watches worth £400,000 and £300,000. 2 further suspects have been identified and are still wanted by police, Joe Jobson and George Goddard. One man, 28-year-old Ali Sasse, pleaded guilty to robbery previously after detectives found his DNA on Peter Cavendish's phone. Romario Henry from Lewisham and Oladewe Okorosobo from Camberwell appeared in the dock today. Both denied 2 counts of robbery, and the trial continues. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
2 men have been convicted of a triple stabbing outside a music venue in North London. Kieran Morgan, aged 23, and Daniel Onyewenyu, who's 30, will be jailed for a total of more than 13 years after injuring 3 men after a gig at the Scala in Islington last April. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has been denied permission to leave prison for Dame Vivienne Westwood's funeral, her family say. Dame Vivienne backed his cause when he was sent to Belmarsh prison, fighting to avoid extradition to the United States. And Caroline Flack's former manager has called the description of Prince Harry's relationship with the presenter in his new book disgusting and grotesque, calling for him to be stripped of his titles. In 2009, their relationship came under media scrutiny, a time Prince Harry talks about in his new memoir. Next tonight, it was supposed to be a lifeline for thousands of families who now live in worthless flats covered in dangerous cladding. But tonight we can reveal that a scheme to allow them to mortgage their homes again won't actually help the majority. After the fire at Grenfell Tower, it emerged that as many as 1,000 properties across London are deemed unsafe. But despite 6 banks' attempts to help thousands of people, campaigners say the wider problem still exists. Rags Martel reports.
Her home isn't just unsafe, it's unsellable.
The door is open.
Emily lives in Crystal Palace, but she's stuck in the cladding crisis.
I'm stuck here forever. There's no kind of way out. Sounds really bad, but yeah, I haven't got a get out of jail card, basically.
This is the living room. It's a 1-bedroom flat, but 3 people live here, and they've run out of space.
I work here. The kids do their homework, they play, I sleep. I also sleep, so this is my bedroom as well. We also eat in here, but yeah, this is my bed.
So that's a pull-down bed?
I pull this down every night to go to bed. When I did come here, I was very young, I was 22, and I had the deposit for this flat. It was off the back because my mum passed away. So I thought I was being responsible using the money, I guess my inheritance, and putting it into something, you know, for my future.
But everything changed after the Grenfell fire, which killed 72 people. Her building in South London was found to have flammable cladding and insulation, along with other safety defects. Emma, like thousands of others, were left unable to sell their properties or even change their mortgage. But from today, some of the biggest banks will consider mortgage applications from people like Emma. But there's a catch. Work to fix the cladding must have been agreed by developers, leaseholders or the government. But there's no such agreement in Emma's building.
So it's nice for those that have got plans, but we haven't had any plans.
This is the latest attempt to fix the so-called cladding crisis. But more than 5.5 years after Grenfell, campaigners don't believe this will fix the problem.
It's not going to help people sell their flats in the coming future. We're facing a cost of living crisis in this country, which is exacerbated for people with cladding. Their rents are going up, their mortgage rates are going up, their service charges are going up, and their insurance premiums are going up as well. So they're stuck in flats that they can't sell, and they're getting even more expensive, and today's announcement just won't cut it for them.
Emma's landlord, Southern Housing, say they're doing all they can to support residents who wish to sell their homes, while the government insists they have a commitment to get all homes fixed. But none of this is a help to Emma, who's stuck in her flat and will continue sleeping in her living room. Rags Martel, ITV News.
Still to come, Sally will be here with the weather, plus...
I was one of those that would judge them. I'd stand on the side and go, look at those idiots. Fighting over toilet paper. How stupid do they look? Who needs that much toilet paper? Why are you fighting? But just in case, I'm going to go and buy 57 rolls.
Well, he's on a roll of different kinds. The comedian breaking through with a UK tour. But first, Stevenage fans are celebrating after their big win last night. The sport is next.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
So football fans in Stevenage might have felt like they were waking up from a dream this morning, but last night the League Two club really did knock the Premier League's Aston Villa out of the FA Cup with 2 dramatic late goals. As the dust settles, Divya Kohli has been to speak to those close to the club to see just what it means.
They travelled to a cold and rainy Birmingham, not expecting much. But the magic of the FA Cup meant an epic result. League Two Stevenage came away with an incredible win over Premier League side Aston Villa. And the man of the night, Dean Campbell. His tenacity to get the ball led to a penalty. And then the winner.
No one marking Campbell. Oh! Dean Campbell!
Was there any chance of you taking that penalty?
No, I think there was zero chance of me taking that. No, we had a few confident lads that were, you know, ready to step up, and no, I had full trust in them to put it away.
And the celebration, talk us through that.
Yeah, it was amazing. Done a knee slide and all the lads were on top of me after that, so it was just elation, you know, the celebrations with the fan at that moment and then after the game was just special and something, you know, we'll all remember for the rest of our careers.
So proud of all the players, the staff. We got the game plan absolutely right, and of course so proud of over 3,000 supporters travelled up from Stevenage and the villages around.
Students from Marriott School in Stevenage were at the game last night, reliving the joy of their club winning in dramatic style this morning.
We were like in pure shock, like we didn't know if we were dreaming or not, and we were just like hugging because we just didn't know what to do. It's absolutely incredible.
Not a result you were expecting, George?
No, I was expecting more, a 2-0 Aston Villa.
Everyone was screaming, the passion from the fans and the players. It was a beautiful night.
I looked at my brother at one point after the last goal and he was like physically crying. That's how much we didn't expect it.
Jade Rackford works at the school but is also the Stevenage Football Club announcer. A special personal moment for him, watching the game with his son.
I've been going to Stevenage 35, 36 years with my dad, and to be there with my son was lovely. And I know there was a lot of tears from a lot of people in that stadium last night for people that couldn't be with us. So yeah, it was just the best.
There's just a few weeks before the fourth round tie with Stoke. Fans eagerly await that game and to see if they can go all the way. For now, they continue to chase their footballing dreams. Divya Kohli, ITV News.
Chelsea continued their awful run of form last night with a 4-0 humbling at the hands of Manchester City in the FA Cup. Blues boss Graham Potter is under increasing scrutiny with just one win in the last 11 domestic games. Arsenal take on Oxford United later in the FA Cup, but they'll be wearing a kit with a twist. The No More Red kit aims to raise awareness about youth violence in the capital and is white, drained of the club's traditional red colours. Arsenal star Emile Smith-Rowe told us he'll be proud to run out sporting the message.
I think the boys wore it last season. I didn't actually play that game, but yeah, I can't wait to wear the shirt, and you know, I'm going to feel really proud, and I'm going to try to play well in it as well.
Welsh footballer Gareth Bale has announced his retirement from international and club football. The 33-year-old started at Southampton, but his fame rocketed at Tottenham with defence-destroying displays in the Champions League, notably against Inter Milan. He later played for Real Madrid and Los Angeles FC. And Saracens captain Owen Farrell could miss the start of England's Six Nations campaign if he is found guilty of a dangerous tackling offence. Farrell made the tackle on Friday against Gloucester and could be banned for 6 weeks if the hearing finds against him. Now, our next guest has gone from working as a bouncer on the doors of venues across the capital to performing on their stages in front of thousands instead.
Like, it's different because with brothers, it's very different to be physical. With sisters, it's psychological. They were horrible. They used to suck me in with something nice. They go, "Do you want to know a secret?" I go, "Yeah." Like, who doesn't? Like, if you start a conversation with me now like that, I'm listening. And they said, "Do you want to know a secret?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "We found you on the doorstep when you were a baby." And then Mum decided to keep you. I was 6.
We'll talk about his family later. Emmanuel Sonubi's career in comedy started only a few years ago when he earned himself a reputation as one to watch out for. And sure enough, he's about to start his first solo UK tour at the Soho Theatre. And Emmanuel joins me from there now. Hello, good evening. Tell us about your show, Emmanuel.
Oh, hello, good evening. It's an hour of escapism comedy, I like to call it. Just everything that I've done up to now that has sort of led me into comedy, and basically shaped how I think about most things.
Well, tell us how you got into comedy, because didn't you start out in West End musicals?
Yeah, I trained in musical theatre at college, and then came out and did I did a few musicals. I've done plays. I've done quite a few of those, and then I kind of fell into being a bouncer because it was easy, regular work at that time. And then from there, once I finished doing theatre, I thought I was done with entertainment, and then pretty much by accident I fell into stand-up comedy. I do a lot of falling into things.
Tell us about working on the club doors around London. What was it like?
Do you know what? It's very similar to doing stand-up comedy, because it's all about presence. A lot about being a bouncer is how you present yourself, because a lot of the work is talking people down, or trying to diffuse a situation, or even trying to make light of a situation, and that's how a lot of it will happen, especially when you're doing comedy. So really, being a bouncer was like the best lessons into being a stand-up comedy, because even as a doorman, people find it very hard to stay angry when they're laughing.
I've always wondered, when you look down a queue outside a club, can you spot they're going to be trouble, they're going to be trouble? What is it that you look out for?
You think you can. You think you can. It's like it's trying to spot people you think, oh, that person's a little bit drunk, or just their mannerisms, how they present themselves. Are they pushing and shoving? Are they standing there politely? Anyone that stands out for whatever reasons are the ones that you're going to keep an eye out on. Even as they get close, you think, well, they look about 15. I'm going to ask for their ID.
We're running out of time, Emmanuel, but just briefly tell us about where your shows are going to be. Where can people see you?
So we're kicking off at the Soho Theatre in London, but I'm going to be all across the UK over the next few months. So all the details are on my website, emmanuelstandup.com, and all of the dates for all of the venues are there. But it's going to be about 35-ish dates, I think, all around the UK.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Good luck.
Thank you.
The ITV News continues at 6:30. Here's Charlene now with a look ahead.
Coming up, Prince Harry takes aim at Camilla in a fresh round of TV interviews. After accusing the Queen Consort of leaking stories on ITV last night, he's now called Camilla a villain with a dangerous relationship with the press. We have all the reaction. Also ahead, no end in sight for the strikes, the latest on talks between the unions and the government. Plus, eyes to the skies, why Cornwall is set to make European space history tonight. Join us for all that and more from 6:30.
OK, let's get a reminder of our main headlines in London this evening. A teenager has pleaded guilty to the murder of a 14-year-old boy in South London in 2021. Jermaine Cools was fatally stabbed in a fight near West Croydon Station on the evening of November the 18th. And there could be more tube strikes in March if drivers vote in favour of industrial action in a row over possible pension changes. And Sally is here. Hello,
Finally
Sally.
back at work.
Welcome. That was a
you?
nice old break, wasn't it?
Oh, I know it was. I know how to enjoy myself, Duncan. Save it all to the end of the year.
Tell me about that after the programme. We had some dry weather today, which was lovely.
Well,
brief reprieve.
I know, a brief it, because it's not going to be nice tomorrow.
No.
But look, I've got something to show you. Quickly,
Go
let's
on.
show you this picture. This has been spotted. Daffodils
Hurrah.
already in Berkshire. Might not see too many tomorrow, though, when the rain hits. Let's take a look. Here we go.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. Well, I hope you had a good start to the week. I don't think it'll be looking like this tomorrow morning. We've got some rain and some wind heading our way for both the start of the day and the end of the day, and possibly in the middle as well. And it is going to be an unsettled week this week. If you take a look at the pressure chart, you can see why we've got several fronts moving in, bringing those blustery and changeable conditions. The isobar's quite tightly packed, as you can see, and that's what's turning things quite windy. It won't be wet all the time. That rain never too far away. Right, back to the detail for tonight. So some clear spells outside, the odd shower, but pretty much dry. But you can see as we get through towards tomorrow morning, we are going to see more cloud heading our way and waiting in the wings, that rain. Now, it's going to be quite a chilly start tomorrow morning. Our temperatures down to low single figures and turning windier. And as we go through rush hour, early on, you can see that rain moving in. Several hours of persistent rain, spray on the roads, not great conditions, windy as well. The worst of it's over as we head into the afternoon, but still staying cloudy and possibly drizzly. And as you can see, windy too. Temperatures won't be as cold tomorrow, but probably won't be thinking too much about that given the wet conditions. And then we're not done yet, because as we head into the evening, we've got another band of rain moving in. So a wet end to match that wet start. Right, as we head into Wednesday, that should be a drier start once that rain from Tuesday night has cleared away. But we are expecting possibly some showers as we go through into the afternoon. So keep an eye on the forecast for that, maybe even a bit of thunder and hail as well. And then into Thursday, looking damper once again, unsettled for the end of the working week. And there could well be some showers in the mix as well. That is your full forecast for now.
ITV London Weekday Weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Thank you, Sally. And that is it for now. We're back with our late update tonight. Charlene is here next with the ITV Evening News. But from all of us on the London team, thank you for watching and goodbye.